Welcome to a new episode of Outside the Panels with your host, Johnny the Machine Hughes.
Welcome everyone to another episode of Outside the Panels. I am your host, Johnny the Machine Hughes, and joining me this week are two of my favorite people that I've ever interviewed. It's Tom Sniegoski and Janine Acheson. Janine, Tom, how are you both doing?
We're doing great.
We're great. We're really
excellent. See, so from last time you were your rooms, avenues apart. Now social distance be damned. There you are.
We had a snowstorm. That's what kept us. That's what kept us apart the last time.
I would have been there.
Excellent. Okay, so Tom and Janine. Tom, you were kind enough to reach out to me, so I really do appreciate this.
No problem.
Following our chat over the Valentine Vampirella special that came out from you both, and we're going to talk about an absolute barnstormer. There you go. You don't say that word very often. A barnstormer of a book that's due out next month, and of course, it's got to be Vampiverse #1. There you go. So let's have a quick look and see if we've got the boom. There it is.
There she is.
Adam
There
Hughes.
she is. The Adam Hughes cover.
Hughes.
We'll start with the Hughes because Machine Hughes. It all works the same. So, oh, excellent. Okay, so this is a kind of continuation from the Valentine special, correct?
Yes.
Right. Okay. Now, before everybody starts sort of rubbing their hands and thinking, yes, you're getting exclusive. You are getting exclusive because we're talking to the two writers. However, we are not, I cannot stress this enough, we are not going to spoil the story in any shape, way, or form, other than what you've already seen in the previous catalog. All right? Cool. That's where everybody turns off now. They go click, 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 click. All right. Okay. So, take it from there. So, Tom, Janine, fire away. So, it's an extension of the Valentine special.
Yeah.
How so?
Yeah, you can.
When we were the last time we were on with you, I think we even mentioned this, that the villain of the Valentine issue we like so much that we're like, how do we do something more with her? How can we play a little bit more with that character? And that's where this whole thing was born. That even we pitched the idea to Dynamite after writing that issue, because we wanted to kind of continue that world a little bit.
Okay, that's cool.
Yeah, cool. And it panned out.
Yeah,
it did. So, how does that pitch work? So, because obviously there'll be people who will be listening who want to pitch to Dynamite or Dark Horse or whomever. Do you two kind of double team it, or Janine, do you go in, or do you kind of like say, Tom, you do this bit?
I think we kind of talked everything out together first, and then didn't you have a conversation with the president of Dynamite?
With Nikki? With Nick Barucci? I think it was a combination of a talk with Nick and a combination talk with one of the editors, which I believe the editor was Joe Ryban on the Valentine's Day special. But it was one of those things where Into the Spider-Verse was super popular at the time.
Yes, it was.
So everybody,
huge.
Yeah, so everybody was looking to see like alternate reality Vampirellas.
Yeah.
So it was kind of like that's all I needed to say. Hey, how about alternate universe Vampirellas? It was kind of, what did you say?
Yeah. What? Yeah, I've kind of got a little bit of a question about that to come later on. Janine, so you're back for more?
Yes.
Well, how do you feel being back for more?
It feels really good. I feel like I'm learning a whole lot because I've never written comics before. And I feel like we have just finished. We're just starting the 3rd issue. And I feel like I'm finally starting to like pick up on the rhythm of how it works and how to put the comic together and how to visualize things. So it's been an education, but it's a lot of fun.
How many issues is this series running? Is it ongoing or is it?
I think it's 6. I think it's 6 with the potential to spin out of various things that we introduce. Oh yeah.
Okay, so more vampi, excellent.
It's called keeping us employed.
I think I put in a review recently that I think Vampi has more books out than Batman.
I think she does actually. I think she does, or close to it.
Definitely. Well, there's a comic book shop near where I live, in Darlington, and everybody loves Vampi there. So, yeah, there you go. Cool. Excellent. So back for more. How did the story? You've got your main villain, and we're not going to go too much into who the villain is. All right. If you've read the Valentine special, you might have a bit of an idea.
Exactly.
But we're not going down that route. We're not going
to
So it's interesting because you kind of start with the end piece, with the villain, and then you kind of now. How do we get that villain to this starting point?
Yes.
Or starting points, I should say.
Yeah.
This is a bit of a multiverse book, right?
Yes.
Okay. So how did you kind of build backwards, as it were?
That's for you.
Oh, did you just hear that? That's
yeah. I heard that. That was the Tom, you're thrown under the bus here, mate. Sorry.
I think the whole working backward thing, we had to figure out, since we're dealing with a multiverse with multiple Vampirellas, is which Vampirella was going to be our star.
Right. Okay.
So we basically had to figure out which Vampirella is our focus, and use that to be the beginning of how we get the villains and the other Vampirellas into the storyline. Okay. So I decided to use the Vampirella from my original Vengeance of Vampirella run, who ended up dying at the end of the story. At the end of my run in the 90s, she died.
Spoilers.
It's the 90s. So that Vampirella is the Vampirella that's our hero, because she's died and moved on to paradise. Well, moved on to Eden, and
from there on, and from there in the story starts.
Yeah.
All right. So, Janine, you mentioned before that you aren't a comic book. This is your second comic book, right?
Yes.
Second series. So did you have to do a lot of research into the different Vampirellas that were kicking around? Because to be fair, there's been a fair few.
There are. I think for Christmas you gave me
my run.
The run from the 90s.
I gave her my entire run for Christmas.
See, I'm sensing a little bit of nepotism here. So you want to know about Vampi? This is the only one.
This is the only one you really need.
Yeah. Janine, I'll send you some stuff later.
Well, knowing that that's the one that she's going to have to write, that would be. Yeah.
And I have been reading Vengeance as well.
All right, excellent.
The
Chris Priest book, yeah.
No, that's Vampirella. The other Vengeance is mine.
See what I mean? It's like there's loads of them. I'm currently reading. What have I been reading? I've been reading Project Dark Powers.
Okay.
I've been really enjoying
That's the superhero one, isn't that the one that has like a superhero spin to it?
Yeah. It's kind of, and it's interesting because when I read Vampiverse, I don't know if it's a timing thing, because you've got Marvel doing their Heroes Reborn return.
Yeah.
You've got DC doing their Infinite Frontier. You've got Dynamite doing Project Dark's Powers, the superhero team. And they're also doing a Red Sonja variant of that.
Yeah, they are doing it.
Dan Abnett's doing a great job on that. How's the marketplace kind of feeling, do you think, for all the multiverse books? Because I'll be a little bit honest. When I was a kid, if I saw a DC comic and it was talking about how Batman and Catwoman were getting married, I'd be like, nope, I want Earth 1. I just want Earth 1. I can't handle Earth 2. And nowadays it's like, right, there's like umpteen different Earths. So how do you think the marketplace has kind of changed from that solid continuity point to being so wide?
It almost seems like the comic base wants different takes. They know it isn't the one that they hold as real inside their head, but they want to try different takes. They want to see different interpretations. That's why I think the market can handle that. It's if you got a nice take on it.
Good talk. Yeah,
a good story is a good story. I mean, if it's crap.
Yeah. Yeah, if it's crap, well,
then you don't want to read it.
I just disdain a little bit. So you've got to think. I think the key point for me is the readers, because Vampiverse is a Teen Plus book, right?
A what book?
It's a Teen Plus book. It's rated at that Teen Plus level.
Yeah.
Yeah. So I think it's a given nowadays that there's not a lot of kids walking in comic book shops.
There should be more, but yeah, you're right.
There should be more.
There should be a lot more.
So really what you're getting at, what you're aiming for, are people like me who've been around the block a bit.
And me, yeah.
Yeah, and can understand that, this Vampi is the Paul Cornell Vampi, this Vampi is the Warren Vampi, this Vampi is the Tom Vampi, and so on and so forth. So that's cool. Janine, that's quite a lot as a new writer to kind of process. How did you manage?
Yeah, it is. I think the first issue when we wrote the Valentine's Day special, I was questioning what I had gotten myself into. There were so many moving parts to it, and there were so many different Vampirellas, and there were so many different writers. But I think I've gotten better over the past few months anyway, and I kind of come on.
And that, my friends, is revenge. See how we should be there?
I kind of have them like settled in my head a little bit better. Okay. It's starting to sink in.
Can I tell you a funny story?
Always good for a fun story.
When we started working on plotting out Vampiverse, and I'm rattling off alternate. And this Vampirella is this from this alternate reality, and she can be like this, and I'm just going on and on typical comic guy stuff. Her eyes were just glazing over. She didn't know what I was talking about.
I get that look off my wife all the time. And I'm just like, check this out. It's the first appearance of a character. And she's like, okay.
Then she started to take notes.
Then I took notes.
Yeah.
On little pieces of paper that she started to tape together. And it was this insane. I don't even know how
it made total sense to me.
You could like pull it up, and it was just like all
I'm sensing one of those like crime scene things you see in
That's exactly what it was.
with post-its all over it in a string.
Yes,
except
it was all attached with tape.
Highlighted
and taped.
Categorized. Yeah. It's okay.
When it comes down, there'll be highlighter on the wall.
It worked. It's working.
It helped her. I mean, as funny as it was, it did help.
So you've kind of, Janine, this is, doing a one-shot's one thing. And the Valentine book was great. You know how much I love the Valentine book. How does your confidence kind of grow now that you're thinking to yourself, right, I'm now plotting multiple characters, multiple issues, multiple starts, multiple crossover points. I mean,
should I have confidence now?
You're scaring her now. She obviously wasn't thinking.
Oh, really? Okay. Yeah, sorry about that. All right, so Vampiverse is cancelled. All right, okay.
It's a little bit better. It's a little bit better. Like when I talk to other people other than Tom, and I do occasionally, and I can explain to them what I've done or what we've done and the steps that it takes. It starts to click with me, and it makes a lot more sense. And so I was a teacher for 15 years, and when you have to teach somebody else something, or you have to explain something, then it starts to click for you. So I think in talking through it with other people, it made me go, oh yeah, that's right. I kind of know what I'm doing. Like I'm getting there. So
well, from my point of view, I will say that you clearly have it going on, because you two, the work on the Valentine Special is great. I've been privileged enough to look at Vampiverse #1, and to say there's a lot of writing in there. There's a lot of writing in there. So you guys have absolutely, set the bar way up here for me. This is. I can't wait to get my reviewing done on this book. I'll have to see when we can get that done for Comic Crusaders, but it's a really well thought out, well pitched book that takes the kind of multiverse idea and just kind of, I'm not going to say shrinks it, but it kind of focuses it. Because I think when you talk about multiverse, people think big.
Yes.
And I think Vampiverse #1 kind of starts big.
Right.
But by the time you finish.
But then it becomes focused. Yes.
Yes. That's kind of what I took from it.
Yeah. There's nothing worse than a comic getting away from you when you're writing it.
Tell me about it. Yeah.
I mean, that happens.
It's nothing worse than reading a comic book like that. I mean, I'm not going to throw anybody under the bus, DC, but some of the event books have like so many filler issues, and you're like, just get on with it.
Yeah. Well, but again, that's to sell more books. So.
But, and Tom, you're a veteran of many a publisher. Mm-hmm. Does it really sell more books, or do more people drop off? I mean, and this is probably a comment for the comic industry rather than your book. But
I think it's a little bit of both. I think you do pick up those people who are obsessed with the whole story and they want to read every aspect of that story. But there are people that say, you know what? No, I'm not even going to bother.
I'm a reader. I read lots of stuff and I buy lots of stuff. And I'm annoyed at the Batman Catwoman. You know, it was delayed a year. Now it's been delayed a couple of months. And now they've changed the artist. I'm like, you're having me for a ride. You're having a lended me here because you know what? I bought into this premise.
Yeah.
And I bought into it with these creators. And now you're kind of making me wait. And you've changed the rules. What am I supposed to do? Anywhere else, you'd walk, right?
Yeah, but at the same time, you kind of wonder what happened.
Yeah.
Believe me, they didn't want that to happen.
Yeah, that's true. That's true.
So they may have been like that. The artist may have just said, "I don't want to do this anymore," or got a better.
I hope not. Clayman's art's gorgeous. All right, okay. So how was when you think about because you guys are very much a tag team.
Yeah.
How is it working with the artist on the book? It's Daniel Main, right?
Yeah.
Daniel's art probably isn't the, how can I put this? It's probably not the most like wow big panel. It's very small kind of panels to help you get to where you need to be. So how does that kind of, do you guys do plotting sessions with Daniel, or is it very much here's the script, get cracking? And I suppose as a second part to that question, Janine, are you feeling more comfortable sort of getting involved with like talking with the artist more from what you want to see from your part of the writing?
I think what we do is we work on the script together and we plot everything out. We lay it out and tell them like what's going to happen in every panel and what characters might look like or be wearing or facial expressions, and we script it. And then we send it to our editor and he looks it over, and then it goes to Daniel.
Yeah, it goes pretty much like from us to Daniel, from the editor. And Daniel's like a machine.
He's unbelievable.
Whoa. I'm the machine. You can't be giving
that's true. That's true.
That's harsh.
He's the motor. How about the motor? The motor.
Yeah.
But it's amazing. Like he'll get the script in a matter of days.
Yeah.
We have layouts on half the book.
Yeah.
Cool.
Which is in their really tight layouts. I mean, it's pretty amazing. He's fast, really fast,
and really good. Like we very seldom have notes for him. Like he nails it.
Yeah, he pays attention to the script. Yeah. He's not. I've worked with many an artist who've just decided that they didn't want to draw what I wrote in the script, and they want to do what they want to do.
I am tempted. I'm really tempted to ask who, but I'm not going.
Oh, you don't want a lot of these guys have dropped out, and you know why now.
Yeah, I can just say if we say names, I can just imagine that people's collections are now going down in value. So, Tom, it's obvious which vampi is your favourite because it'll be your vampi.
Yeah.
Janine, do you have a favourite vampi? And it's all right. I know you sat next to him, but we can put you in a witness protection if you want to say somebody else's.
The this one. But no, I like Vengeance because I like Mistress Nyx.
Yeah, she likes Nyx.
She's
Yeah,
so
Nyx is
evil.
cool.
I love her.
Yeah,
I like evil characters.
Yeah,
That bodes
very
well.
drawn to the bad guys. She's very drawn to the bad guys.
Okay.
I'm the nicest guy. I am the nicest guy on the planet. Don't you call me a bad guy. I'll be the first to tell you.
It's true. Nice.
Nice guy. All right. Okay. So here's my cynical question then.
Uh-oh.
All right. Are you ready?
Yeah.
Let me get rid of that for a sec. So here's my cynical question. So
Okay.
there's so many different vampires out there in the world, right? Different takes, different characters, past ones, future ones, whatnot. Tom,
Yeah.
have you looked at those collections and thought, you know what? I wasn't really keen on that vampy, so she's the first one to get it.
Do I have to answer this? Do I
I'm
have
not asking which one it is. I'm just saying, is that what
Yes.
you thought? Ah! Go and check out Vampiverse 1, everyone, to see which one bought it first. Excellent. Good question. Good answer.
that was good.
Yeah.
You caught me.
Yeah.
You caught me.
So when I think about back to the variant covers, we're not going to go too much into the story. So variant cover wise, are you okay with variants?
Yeah, variants are just a way to appease collectors that like to have different pieces of artwork in their collection.
Cool.
You don't have to buy them.
Yeah, that's exactly it. My view on variants is pick the one you like.
Yeah, exactly.
And just go with the flow. I'm not overly fond of the ones where you have to pay like twice as much the value of the box.
I don't like that.
Yeah, but when you get like I suppose Dynamite do a great job of them. Zenoscope do some. DC put them on card stock, so you have to pay an extra $1.
Right.
But you pick your poison, right? You think that's the one I want. Do you guys have a favorite variant for your book?
I like that one with this. She almost looks like a Swamp Witch Vampirella. She
Really? Hang on.
with the bones, and that's the one that they made the poster of.
Oh yeah, I like that. That's cool.
Like Megan, it's by Megan Hutchins. Is it Hutchins? Is that her last name? Hutchins? No.
It is. Yeah, Hetrick. Megan Hetrick.
Yeah,
Megan
she's
Hetrick.
she's fantastic.
Yeah, she's great.
She's doing a bunch of them. So hers are great. I love that one.
So for me, my favorite ones were the Adam Hughes one because it's Adam Hughes.
Yeah,
right?
that's fantastic.
Yeah. Steven Segovia's, which was the Oriental one, which I thought was very nice.
That's really cool. Yeah.
And then this one, I was just absolutely blown away. I was like, wow. Yeah. So on my notes, you can see I've got the three covers I like there. So yeah. So there are a raft of covers to choose from, and yes, there's a cosplay one if that's your.
Yeah. Daniel Main has done one of the invisible Vampirella.
So
wait do you see this one? In your mind you're thinking, how does that work?
Yeah.
Wait do you see this one?
I'll go check. Which number is that? Is that an issue 1?
I think that's like issue 3.
All right. Okay.
I think it's a special cover for issue 3, 2 or 3. But
Let
it's
me just
wait do you see
So
it?
cool.
Wait do you see it?
All right. Okay. I hope it's not Vampirella meets Sue Storm.
No. Wait do you trust us on this one?
All right, excellent, cool. All right, so we're going to take a quick break for one of our adverts, one of our shows. Whilst we do that, we're going to reset and we're going to come back and talk more Vampiverse with Tom and Janine. Seems appropriate. Vampy's been around a while, so you know what? Check out this ad for the Old Timers Comic Book Show.
Do you want to find out what makes the professor do his happy dance? Check out the Old Timers Comic Book Show, only on the UCPN.
There you go. What can I say? It's the Old Timers Comic Book Show. It's a place to go and talk about good old comics. There you go. And yes, go and check out episode 3. It's on the UCPN. We talk about indie books, and that includes a certain vixen vampire from the Warren Publishing days.
Oh.
There you go. So, Vampy's been around with us for quite some time.
Quite some time.
Janine, I need to ask you, what is it about Vampy that you like? Because this is as we said, this is the second foray. You've come from like one issue to multiple issues. What is it about Vampy that keeps you sort of like working with Tom?
That's a good question. I think I like, and I think I said this before too, like this is kind of just the way I feel about her. I like that she's kind of two different worlds. She's got like her savage side that she just can't help but bow to sometimes, but she tries to do good. And I think I feel bad for her sometimes.
Yeah,
but it's
depending on who's writing it.
Yeah.
Yeah, don't worry, we haven't forgot you, Tom. Don't worry.
That was not a pitch for my take.
Oh, really? All right, excellent. So when you've had some exposure, Janine, into kind of comic books, and is there any other characters you kind of think to yourself, I wouldn't mind having a pop at that Red Sonja chick. She seems pretty cool. Or
that would actually be fun.
Fun.
And we also have something currently in the pipeline that we'll tell you off camera.
Spoilers.
Son of a gun.
Oh, you'll like this.
Oh, well, excellent.
Yeah.
Right, that's the end of the show. See you later. Bye. All right, excellent. Cool. So, I mean, Red Sonja, she's pretty cool.
I would love to take a crack. Sonja seems to be being used an awful lot too. So
yeah, to be fair,
there may not be room for us.
Well, I don't know. I mean, she's got. I mean, Vampire Red Sonja's coming out soon,
right?
Born out of the Project Superpower stuff,
right?
And she's got her own book going on,
right?
But I think Sonja, because of who she is, she gets to. I think she has a more extended timeline than Vampy. I think sometimes Vampy can get caught too much in present day, whereas Sonja has this whole extended, like, it's like Conan. Conan was like the king at one point, but then he was the savage, and then you've got those 2 points.
Right.
And you've got the story in between. Vampy doesn't seem to have that definitive start point or that definitive end point, unless it's Tom's run. And then you've kind of, everything else there seems to kind of be like, condensed into the current.
Right, right.
You know what I'm saying? It's like Star Trek Captain Kirk only gets interesting when you turn around and say, right, the 5-year mission's over. You can only do so many stories in 5 years and then move on to, so I think that's the difference between the 2 characters for me. But hey ho, there's a thought process for you. What can I say? This issue, one of the things I kind of found a little bit different to this issue than the Valentine issue, and I alluded to it earlier, is the amount of script that's in this book. Was that a kind of conscious choice to kind of really give the reader more bang for the buck?
Well, we found that if you're going to be talking about the multiverse and you're going to be talking about multiple Vampirellas, you kind of have to explain how this all kind of works.
True.
So you find the issues that follow it will become a little less heavy, caption heavy, or dialogue heavy, because we'll have established the rules.
Okay. So then let me ask you this question. Because you're dealing with Tom, they're looking for you, mate.
I know.
Duck down. There we go.
There's a hospital right down the street. Likely story.
Yeah. Someone's on. I want a Burger King. Stat. Sorry for anybody who was affected by everything. All right. So when you talk about multiple vampires and you're talking about the kind of plot points that you have to cross to get to where you want to go, for the pair of you, how do you kind of deal with Vampire of the Month? what I mean by that is, do you remember Smallville?
Yeah.
Yeah. Do you remember season 1 of Smallville? It was like, hi, this character gets infected by meteoroids, has a superpower, they have a fight. Right? And that's kind of like the whole season 1 till they get into how to deliver arcs and so on and so forth.
Right.
How do you kind of plot around the fact that you have to introduce a vampi at not maybe every issue, because there's going to be a point where you have a team that you're happy with to carry on the fight. So how do you kind of deal with that?
Well, I think what we used as like our like the thrust of moving the story forward is the villain and what the villain is up to.
All right, okay.
So these characters have to kind of travel to various places looking for things. I will tell you what they're looking for in order to beat the villain to the punch.
All right, okay, cool.
So,
excellent.
So in looking for these things, you're finding the various Vampirellas.
All right, cool. That makes sense. Yeah.
Various reality. You like that?
I like that.
Yeah.
Just came up with that off the top of my head.
Really? You should be a writer or something.
I've been thinking of taking a course.
Hey, I'm a tutor in my real life, so I can help you with that if you want. All right, cool. So is this, and obviously you've got stuff coming down the line. So from this point of view, the potential spin-offs that you have for this, as you mentioned earlier, are you guys in control of that, or is Dynamite kind of...
That would be one of those things where if we went to Dynamite and said, we really like these characters, can we do either miniseries or one-shots? And it would be up to them to decide whether they would want to or not. But
would you want to?
I would love to.
Have you come across characters that, Janine, you've mentioned Mistress Nix. Have you come across characters that you think... You know what? God damn it! I just don't want to give this up. I want to be Chris Claremont. I want to write this for 17 years.
17 years. Yo, imagine you writing comics for 17 years.
Could happen.
It could happen.
What do you mean? It could happen. It will happen. You've done, Janine, you've done a great job on these 2 books. And Vampi she's not like a small character. She's not. She's a fan base is huge. It's massive. So you're now one of the curators, the people who safeguard one of the most popular pop culture icons in the world.
No pressure.
So I mean, no pressure, but I don't want to sound melodramatic or anything, but there are things that you will write that you will think, it's just a story. But to somebody, this is their first comic book.
Yeah.
This is you introducing them to things like a multiverse. Different versions, and it could be somebody who's never even picked up a Marvel book or a DC book, where these terms are like commonplace, and they're like, wow, So don't dismiss the fact that the impact that you're going to have on lots and thousands of people that are going to read your book, and that's me being a fan, so
it's true.
It's true.
Yeah, very true.
Cool.
No pressure.
No pressure.
Well, there isn't. Just write what you like. That's kind of how it works, right?
This is fun. I mean, this character is all of them are so much fun.
Yeah, we're trying to bring something. Yes, they're alternate reality Vampirellas, but there's something off about all of them. They're not quite the Vampirellas that you're like expecting. There's something different about all of them.
Excellent. I look forward to that. So is your goal to have your own corner of the Vampiverse, the Tom and Janine? This is locked in. This is us.
If they put it this way, if they came to us and said, we want you guys to take a corner and just come up with crazy ideas with Vampirella, we'll leave you alone, and you can do that. I'd sign up in a heartbeat.
I would too.
Okay, cool.
There's plenty of stuff to tell. I mean, it's
definitely.
It's one of those things when you sit down and go, all right, let's come up with a new Vampirella idea. It usually takes about 10 minutes, and I got 4.
What was I going to say? So, were you pleased with the reception for the Valentine book?
Actually, we really were. Yeah. That was especially since it was her first comic. I was like super nervous that not bomb that people might not be kind, so to speak, but they seem to really get what we were doing. So that made me feel really good.
I understand where you're coming from with that a little bit. I read the Vampi 92 book.
Yeah.
And the reviews on Comic Crusaders, go and check it out. Feel free to look at it, everyone. But I wasn't kind to that book at all.
No.
And I was so looking forward to it. You know, I mean, I have a local comic book shop. It's a little independent place. I've seen the advert in previews. I was like, right, I'll order it. Oof, go for it. So when I read the review, because this is what happens. I get the review copies before I buy the book. So I go to the comic book shop, spend £20, and come back with 4 books that I've already reviewed. It's like great. But I'd read this book and it was awful. So then I had to go to the comic book shop and still buy it because it's a little independent business. It's not like a massive franchise that can absorb the cost. Right. You know.
Yeah.
So I was like,
but think about this for a minute. Who should have written that book?
Let's see. Let me just check my contact list and see if I know anyone.
Vampirella 92. I was the Vampirella writer for all of the 90s.
I know that. I was joking. Yeah. So it was just awful. It was just
not good.
Some of the art was all right. I'm not gonna lie. Some of the art was, as you'd expect from a Vampi book based in the 90s. So you're going to get cheesecake in there.
Oh yeah.
But story wise, I was like, no, it's cool. Which brings up an interesting, I suppose, question. Vampi is regarded as a cheesecake character, no matter how many times you try and move away from that.
Yeah.
So are you guys okay with that, Janine? Cheesecake characters? Are you okay with cheesecake art? Put you on the spot there, didn't I? Sorry.
I don't know. I mean, I guess
you get it.
Yeah.
I don't think she approaches it from. I think it's her mental state. I don't think she approaches it as cheesecake.
Good. Cool.
No, because I think the situations that, especially we've put ours in, she's more of a badass than she is.
Well, she's a cool character that we're putting through the motions.
Yeah.
We're not thinking, oh, how can we get her into a shower?
Yeah.
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 Which a lot of the times with the cheesecakes books, it was like, all right, can we put them in order to get the cheesecake?
Yeah, and I just think Vampi's one of those characters that is, I'm not going to say it's defined by, but is recognized by the red swimsuit.
Sure.
Right?
Yeah.
So, and I think sometimes people have tried to move away from that to the detriment of the readers. And I'm not saying that readers don't like a non-swimsuit version of Vampi, but it's like saying, all right, so there's Batman, but we're going to take off his cowl and give him a Spider-Man mask.
Right. It's not the character anymore.
Yeah. There's a nuance about the character.
Yeah. The sexiness of the character is a major aspect of the character.
Like you said, the way you said aspect there, just maybe how you put your emphasis on certain syllables. That would be cool. I was just it's a thing because I'm always concerned. Well, I'm always intrigued about how certain characters kind of get portrayed. For example, and I suppose this is my hill.
Yeah.
I don't mind cheesecake art. I absolutely have no problem with it. If people like it, get it. If people don't like it, don't buy it. It's that simple.
Exactly.
But I do draw the line with Mary Marvel.
Okay.
Cheesecake art. Because when you see Mary Marvel and she's in a Marvel costume and she's being all super voluptuous and everything like that, in my head, I'm saying that's a 9-year-old girl. What are you doing?
That she's one of the Shazam. She's one of the Shazam family, one of Captain Marvels. He's a little kid. He says Shazam. He turns into Captain Marvel. There's a girl version named Mary Marvel.
Okay.
That when she says Shazam, she turns into. Yeah.
So in my head, I'm like, whoa, it's all right drawing, I don't know, say Black Widow or Canary in whatever you want to do, but in essence, Mary Marvel's a 9-year-old kid. She should not be standing that way, dressed that way. You know, that's kind of that's my line.
Yeah, I can see that. That makes sense.
But hey, each to their own. It's fine. I'm pleased. I am absolutely so pleased that the Valentine special has led to this, because I think it's just.
So are we.
I know. We were very excited about that.
What's been the best part of it for you guys then? So I imagine, Tom, you've been around the industry for a while, so your best thought might be different to Janine, who's like,
right.
Wow.
Yeah. I mean, I think if I can talk first.
Yeah, go for it.
The best thing about it is watching her exposed to this stuff that she never really was part of before. I mean, I've been reading comics since I was in elementary school. She just started looking at comics.
Well,
yeah. But it's great to see her eyes being open to stuff that I would never imagine she'd have an interest in. Like, I keep pulling things off my bookshelf saying, you have to read this. You have to read this. And I think what that does is that kind of fuels the interest and kind of gives you a better insight into how to go about writing this stuff. When you're looking at some of the best stuff, kind of supplies you with like, oh, Frank Miller did this way, or Neil Gaiman did it this way, or Bill Mantlo did it this way, or something like that. So it's really neat to be able to see her kind of the eyes opening.
Yeah.
Whole new world is being open to her.
Oh, it sounds like a song title.
It does.
I almost burst in a song there. You don't want that. So, Janine, now that Tom has opened your eyes a little bit, other than Tom's excellent work, of course.
He's a very good teacher. And I think for me, the most exciting thing is learning a new medium. We started out writing a novel together. I started out with very short stories, if you could call them that. And then we wrote a novel together, but now I'm learning another medium. And that's very exciting and very fun.
And very challenging.
Challenging, yeah.
I think I asked you this last time. I think I said, Janine, do you have a preference? Are you still a novel fan versus comic fan? Or are you kind of swaying towards the full color press, as it were?
I find that the more I read and the more I write, comics they kind of attack all of your senses. It's like a very visual thing. It's also literary because there's captions and dialogue, but it's, I definitely have a new appreciation for comics. I certainly have. I still love my novels. I still love reading and writing, but this one it's a different way to express ourselves. And I think that I still have a lot more to learn, but it's ultimately just a fantastic journey. So much fun.
So let me just bring up the cover again, the Adam Hughes one that we liked so much. Whilst we do that, I think you picked the right character to start with, because you get to do a lot of exposition, dialogue, setting up, and so on, and so and it is. There we are. There it is. So you do get a chance to, as Vampi would say, spread her wings a little bit. You're not kind of stuck in superhero mode. You're actually doing lots of different things. That's very cool.
She's a very versatile character. You can do you can actually do more with her than you would ever imagine in terms of the types of stories you can tell.
Cool. Excellent. All right, guys, thank you so much for spending some time with me. I really do appreciate it. Tom, thank you for reaching out. I absolutely totally appreciate it. You guys are welcome on the show anytime. Vampiverse #1 is due in your comic shops on September the 15th.
Ooh.
All right. This is going to be a huge book. It's a 6-issue book. Check it out. Get to your local comic book shop. Get the Valentine Special. You know, get it on back order. Do whatever you need to do to get it, because this is like the prequel to the main event. All right. So, get one, and then you set up for this one. It's been, and then you'll be there ready for the ride, just like we are. Cool. Excellent. All right. So, Tom, Janine, don't disappear after the credits. And all that's left for me to do is to say thank you once again. And don't forget to check out the UCPN for all your favorite podcasts, including the Old Timers Comic Book Show, where the hosts aren't old, but the comics most certainly are. And of course, the No Price Podcast, Flipside Focus, for all your indie comic loves. All right. One last time, thanks very much, Tom and Janine. And
Thank you for having us.
Hey, dude, anytime. Absolutely anytime. And this is Johnny the Machine Hughes saying adios.
Visit undercovercapes.com for the latest and greatest
How's that?
podcasts via the Undercover Capes Podcast Network. Also visit our parent company website, comiccrusaders.shop, all about comic pop culture.